This is Habitat website. I run it from virtual machine. I just dropped the host name you see in the browser. It runs from virtual machine. This is the rendered page with all the components, how it looks like, with the original styles and with everything. I also have XM Cloud instance here, but look here, I have additional 2 databases. This is something I told. This old is the legacy master database from XP. So if I go to content editor, I open the node, you see habitat site definition, the home item, all the pages, like everything that was used in this legacy website. And again, I took the master database, I restored here. So here in SQL Server, you see there are 4 databases, like core, master, and old core with old master. I make them selectable here from the content editor interface. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to copy the content. Again, as it comes from presentation, I'm copying the templates first, then I'm copying the content, then, yeah, same content, I mean the pages. I also copy the placeholder definition items, and nothing goes without media. In my case, it's images, but there are also a couple of videos. And if you were patient on the homepage, you saw this video, which we are going to migrate as well. So here at XM Cloud side of things, I have just, I had empty site, but now you see the content was migrated. But yeah, okay, media is also there. And there are 2 videos as well. Right, let's go ahead. No dictionary, so we need to copy dictionary. Let's go and do that. Some copy and converting dictionary items. I have to convert them because of the different templates. And I also provide the target path where I want it to drop. Right, all of them copied and get converted. Let's take a look at the result. Yes, there are top level sections, there are bottom level sections. This is a dictionary item with the key and phrase. So yes, they are all here. Good, good. The habitat, this is the legacy site definition item. Yes, we need it for data source. Now we go take a look. There is no renderings here, neither at feature site or project. You see there are empty folders. So we're going now to migrate and convert renderings right into these folders. So here's what I do. I run this conversion script. I also need to provide the parameters. As you remember, one of the parameters will be the URL of the old website with old database, sorry, database old, and the other is site root, is the site root of the old site on this old database. So it went through all the pages on all the site and identified all the renderings that are used on all the pages. Then it executed runtime, converted them, and created all of them here. So the one important bit which I was talking is, let's take a look at this container rendering. So this rendering is 2 columns 3.9. It has 2 placeholders. So they must be accounted here in the layout service placeholder. If these placeholders are not here, they will not render anything underneath. This is very important difference with the XM Cloud. And luckily, the script converted it all. So all the renderings are now ready. And we are good to go ahead. Okay, what do we do next? Next, we will now create the Next.js components for this rendering, because we only created rendering definition items, but now we need to create the components. And you see I'm providing URL base because we are going to run, we are going to take them in runtime. So it now goes through all the pages on a legacy website, looks and identifies which are the components, and calculates the folders, and it places them into the folders, mimicking the same folder structure as it was done um, there before in the MVC side. So you see views folder, then it has subfolders, which are Helix modules. And it's wise enough, it only picks the renderings which do not exist yet. So you see now it processes pages and there's nothing, like no more renderings, because all the renderings exist. If it comes across new one that didn't exist, I mean the TSX, for like here, it will go and create. So now it saw this article aside both never existed, so it went and created it. And again, it's very smart enough to reproduce the path. It's also smart enough to slice it very accurately, exactly the same as it was done in XP. But the biggest thing of that is it only calculates that all from the runtime. And again, without runtime, it's not possible, because it's not possible to retrieve the hierarchy of XP components without runtime. On XM Cloud, you can retrieve layout, rendered layout, JSON at any time, but not on XP. So let's see what is generated. I have this habitat application, sources, components. So that's view folder. And probably the best would be to take a look at the structural one that has, remember this one I showed you that has two nested placeholders. So these are GSS placeholders. It knows the name and it imports the placeholders. So basically it cuts the structure. Even if you don't use AI approach, it will use the static snippets, but it still will identify the structure. So it uses statics, but if there are nested components, it will cut the static for the nested component, replace it with placeholder, and move that static into the nested placeholders TypeScript file. So now the most important bit. We are doing the page layout conversion, namely the presentation. So what we do, we set the layout. First of all, we set the layout item for the page. And the other thing is that we rebind the renderings from legacy XP placeholder format into the new XM Cloud dynamic placeholder format. So here's it. Let's see. First of all, you see habitat layout here, which means we change the layout. Then all these placeholders, you see they're in the very right format. So they follow up XM Cloud dynamic placeholder format. So if I run this page now, it will be actually running and executing. But before going that far, I want to set data source fields, because again, remember we copied this home definition item from XP, which been used by some components as a data source. So what I'm doing here is I am changing the data source to that item for some page templates, namely for 3 components per 2 templates, 6 cases. So, okay. Here are all the renderings I have. So the one thing I want to do is I also want to set the GraphQL query. So you see it's empty here. And I'm using, this is the query for the latest news. Remember the one I said with the search. So it's searched by the page template from the bucket. And here is it. It now appears after I set the field. Again, I'm not doing anything manually. I'm running PowerShell scripts that use remoting to set the values. Nothing I set manually. Now, let's do this one. That's the main carousel on the home page. Again, we get it. 2 more. The next would be for the page teaser. It's a very basic one. Here is it. And breadcrumb, another one I was talking about, this one that use ancestors X because it must go up. So let's refresh the item, and yes, this query is here. So now these components are capable of getting these these data sources. Let's run it first of all in Experience Editor. So yes, you see styles are not showing up all of them properly, but what is much more important here, on this page we see all the components that are part of presentation. They nicely and structurally set up here. Again, because of styles and because of no child items yet, you don't see everything, but many of the components are still invisible. This is how it looks when you open the site. Some of the styles been picked up, much better than an Experience Editor, but still slightly far from the ideal case. So homepage was done nice. Now I want to execute exactly the same, but for all the pages on the site. So now if you see, I'm iterating across all the pages, and saying page, I mean the item that has presentation, but not a standard value item of a template. And I'm going through all these items and apply the script to each of these pages. So everything is done on a page level here. Again, I am resolving lots of things from the runtime. That's why I have to provide this URL parameter, as you see. Right. Let's take a breath and wait till it finishes. Luckily, Habitat website does not have many pages. And you see this warning in some cases. It's not possible to obtain layout, especially if there is a redirect. So it nicely notifies me about that if it cannot do something. So, okay, yeah, other pages, they all have this presentation converted, everything as I expect. Let's take a look at one more page. Presentation details. Yeah, all the components here. Let's see placeholders. They are also nicely converted here. No ugly GUIDs and right path. Let's now see how it works in Pages. Pages is new editing interface. It basically mimics Experience Editor here. In the page metadata mode, it will work on its own, directly rendering your rendered website. Again, if you go with not GSS, but with Content SDK, which luckily passed version 1, you will only have metadata mode, so it will be much easier for you and the site will be lightweight. So now let's again open this homepage on a rendered site. Say in rendered site, I mean the one that opens from the host name. So here are my teasers, page teasers. Look at how they show up on the rendered site, and this is very similar to how it was done before on the original site. You just compare one by one. Again, that's because all the sites for this component have been picked up. If spending some time for adjusting the websites here, then obviously this migration will work universally and you will see almost that same look and feel website.